Press.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City Commission meeting of November 16th, 2021. Sorry we're getting started a little late, but have some special guests here in the audience tonight, so we're very excited. And for those of you who are here for the first time, we'd like to just welcome you and also to let you know that we begin our program with our American Pledge of Allegiance, and then we have certain presentations, and then where we usually recognize individuals or organizations or something an event that took place. So tonight we have several of those, and so it's very exciting. And so let us begin by, if you could all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. I was going to ask Commissioner Glassman to sing the Star Spangled Banner, but he has a little hoarse voice tonight. So.
On December 7th, I'll be happy to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Moritas, Commissioner Glassman,
Here.
Commissioner McKenzie, not present at the moment, Commissioner Sorensen,
Here.
Mayor Trentalis.
Here. We have a walk-on for the agenda tonight, motion to approve settlement agreements and releases between the City of Fort Lauderdale, Hartford Accident and Indemnity Company, Continental Casualty Company, the Glen Falls Insurance Company, and American Fire and Casualty of Orlando, and the American Fire and Casualty Company, Liberty Mutual. We also, I guess that's it. So is there anybody who has any comments with regard to the minutes and the agenda so we can approve them? Commissioner Glassman?
Motion to approve.
Oh, okay. Took me off guard tonight.
There you go.
Okay. So, motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie, not present, Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the minutes and the agenda have now been approved. So, we begin tonight with a welcoming reception for our friends from the country of Romania. And I'd like to invite the Deputy Mayor of our sister city of Romania, which is Constanța, Ionuț Russo, if you could please come forward. Also, we have the Mayor's Advisor on International Relations and Culture, Dr. Doreen Popescu, and we have the Council General, the Honorable Catalin Genea. Am I getting these right? Genea. And also I'd like to invite Russ Weaver, the President of our Sister Cities Association organization, Julia Costin, who's the Romania Chairwoman, Joey, the Vice President, Marianne Winfield, the immediate past President, Pat Dumont. Is she here? No. Okay. Christina Balint, is she here? No. And Georgiana Jova, is she here? No. Well, please come forward. Is it working? Oh. What a beautiful lineup of people. So, tonight we are recognizing our sister city relationship with the city of Constanța, Romania. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's really an honor for us to be able to host these folks tonight. And I see we have some gifts that were on my desk behind us. These are from you?
Here, yes.
Yes, right here. Thank you. Sophia, where are you? Where's Sophia? Okay. What do you mean? I want Sophia. Do you have something to give to her? Oh, yeah. Did she leave? Okay, so. So, in honor of their visit, I have this gift I'd like to give to our Council General. a small token of our appreciation for your being here tonight. Thank you so much. This is the crystal for the vice mayor. What is this for? The flag that you're going to. Oh, yes, okay. And I have this warm greetings from the city of Fort Lauderdale for you to take back to Costanza. The picture of our beautiful city. So tonight we are actually taking a moment to exchange flags, and I have our flag here of the city of Fort Lauderdale. And Russ, while I'm doing this, you want to say a few words on behalf of the Sister Cities organization?
Sure, it's my pleasure. It's an honor to be here tonight. 2 years ago and 1 month ago, up on the 8th floor, Mayor Trantalis signed his first Sister City agreement with Constanța, Romania, and I'm thrilled to report that it's been one of our most active sister cities, and we've been very busy. Even during COVID, we've had Zoom meetings and conferences to keep it going. Your Greater Fort Lauderdale Sister Cities organization this year is 60 years old, with Medellin, Colombia being our very first sister city.
Thank you so much. So this is the flag of the city of Fort Lauderdale, which I humbly and honorably present to our sister city, Costanza. Thank you so much for being here and accepting it. But I see you have something else. Oh, look at yours. You've got fringe. Chris, we got to up our game. Yeah. Well, let's put them side by side. Mr. Vice Mayor, would you like to say a few words tonight?
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, we are thanking you for convening this meeting. We are honored to have us here, and I'm taking this opportunity to convey greetings from our mayor, Mr. Virgil Chițac. And he's sorry not to be tonight here, but I'm the vice mayor and I'm here, happy.
We're happy to have you.
And we know, as you already know, 21st of May is the day of, we are celebrating the day of Constanța. And 21st May is actually the celebration of the name of our Emperor Constantine and his mother Elena, and the name of Constanța is taken from Emperor Constantine. We know that as well the name of Constantine is a very important date for you as well. So I'm taking this opportunity to officially invite you to celebrate your name day in Constanța next year, with the occasion of this date. And we are happy for today, what is happening, and we are looking forward not just to exchange emails and to have a visit, but to do great things together. Because our city, Constanța, is eager, we have potential, our culture, we have our tourism, and we believe that together we can do great things. So I'm taking this opportunity to pass some small gifts for you, which represent some landmarks of our city. Thank you very much for having us here.
Would you like to say a few words? This is the Council General from in Miami. Hold on. Would you like to say a few words also?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Tie from? Look at that.
Well, it's
All the bases covered.
it is a sign of friendship, Romanian-American friendship. Last week, our foreign minister has been here. He met Secretary Blinken, and we continued our very fruitful cooperation. I am very glad to be here again in Fort Lauderdale, as it was 2 years ago at the signing. And we are a very new consulate. We opened 3 years ago. We have a large Romanian community here in Fort Lauderdale, And sometimes I think maybe we should have opened the consulate here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And you want to take? Let me put this down.
Get everybody in,
Bless.
looking at the camera.
Bless. Bless.
He had it to Mark. Okay.
Very nice. Oh, and a shirt. Very nice. Thank you. I just want to say that we were supposed to go to Costanza last year, but because of COVID, we were unable to go. So hopefully next year we'll be able to, and that I really would welcome the opportunity. Okay, we'll bring everybody with us. Okay, thank you so much. Very nice to meet you. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where is Scott? Scott. Okay, for our next presentation, I see that our illustrious property appraiser, Marty Kier, is in the office, in the audience. Please step forward. Come on, Marty. Absolutely. I know you have someplace to go.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have a flag? No, you don't.
Absolutely.
Are you doing it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Commissioner,
Thank
are
you,
you gonna come
Mayor.
down, are you going to come down here?
I'm going to come down, but I'd also like to call up, in addition to our property appraiser, Marty Kier, Father Lowley of St. Anthony's Church, Pastor Black of Sanctuary Church, Wayne Barton, Good News of Christ Ministries, Ray Rapaglia, James Club Foundation, Chief Larry Scorato, Fort Lauderdale Police Department Battalion Chief Daniel Oatmeyer, Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue, and the illustrious President of Lake Ridge Civic Association, Michael Albetta. Please join me in the well, and I'll just read my proclamation. Thank you, gentlemen, and I will present the proclamation from the office of the mayor, then I'll join you and we'll take a nice photo with the proclamation. Again, thank you so much for being here. I'm very pleased to read from the office of the mayor, City of Fort Lauderdale proclamation in recognition of the 6th annual Unity in the Community Grocery and Turkey Giveaway. Whereas, on Thanksgiving Day, Americans come together to celebrate an American tradition, grateful for the blessings of family, community, and country. And whereas the Thanksgiving holiday reminds us to recall the spirit of compassion and mutual responsibility to all of humanity, as we gather around tables surrounded by loved ones in humble gratitude for the given bounties we have received, let us keep in close memory of our fellow neighbors who have faced hardship and tragedy this year. And whereas, in an effort to make Thanksgiving better for those who would otherwise go without a traditional holiday meal, the Wayne Barton Study Center and the Good News of Christ Ministries, in partnership with the City of Fort Lauderdale, the Fort Lauderdale Police and Fire Rescue Departments, Broward County Property Appraiser Marty Kier, Pastor Dwayne Black, and the Sanctuary Church, St. Anthony's Homeless Ministries, the James Club, and scores of volunteers will be at the Sanctuary Church to distribute groceries and turkeys to thousands of people. And whereas the annual Unity in the Community Grocery and Turkey Giveaway epitomizes the spirit of generosity and compassion, allows us to share our time and resources throughout our community with the less fortunate, whether it be in the form of sharing a hearty meal, extending a helping hand, or providing words of encouragement. And whereas although the current coronavirus pandemic has forced us to alter our system of meal delivery and face-to-face fellowship, we will not allow this crisis to dampen our spirits or prevent us from feeding our neighbors. And whereas the mayor and city commissioners are elated to issue this proclamation in recognition of the 6th anniversary of this event, and do thank all those involved in making this giveaway a success, particularly community and civic activist Michael Albetta for all his hard work. Now, therefore, we, as city commissioners of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim November 20th, 2021 as the 6th annual Unity in the Community Grocery and Turkey Giveaway Day in the city of Fort Lauderdale, dated this, the 16th day of November 2021, and signed by the Honorable Mayor Dean J. Trentalis. Yes. Who would like to say a few words? Pastor or Michael, would you like to say a few words before we take the photo about the event this Saturday? Pastor, just a few words?
Mr. Black, you've never been
Time's
short
almost
before.
up.
No, please.
Pastor? Okay.
Okay.
You may be here all night.
Sure. This is a grocery giveaway for everybody. And if you know anybody in need of free groceries, turkeys, and for Thanksgiving, you're all welcome. It's drive-through, and it's really a fabulous, wonderful thing to see. I even had the illustrious the city manager participate last year, and he was great. Came through. I want to thank Robert Lockery, and I also want to thank Stephanie Toothaker for stepping up to the plate, assuring that the turkeys are purchased, as well as Courtney Crush. With this here it's about unity in the community, and it's about not being selfish. And I see all the kids here and everything else. You're all welcome to volunteer and
That's
come out.
Fort Lauderdale High School, District 2, Michael.
That's the Royal the Lions, huh? There you go. Okay, so thank you very much. Anyway, enough is said of me. Pastor Black, we started together. People thought it was only 6 years ago. People only thought about 300 people going to show up. Literally, it was 5,000 people. It's like something out of the Bible. 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Let me get that correct. So, and we sent home 2 trucks of empty food. This year every year is 4 trucks of food we empty out, and we gave close to 2,000 turkeys last year. Pastor.
Yeah. We'll be at the Sanctuary Church, which is downtown Fort Lauderdale, just a little bit north of Sunrise. We would love to have, and if you guys can come with, this would be terrific. We really need you young people coming out there. That would really be great. I'll take your names as I leave, okay?
I have a list for you.
That's good. I appreciate that. This really is a great thing. There are people that are in so much need right now. And I have to tell you, the mayor has been down there. He's been working with us. Commissioners have been down with her. Everyone. I mean, this is terrific. It's done by the city of Fort Lauderdale. They really honor this, and we really appreciate their help.
8 a.m. Saturday.
8 a.m. Yeah.
No? Well, I know one person who definitely. Marty?
All I want to say is no more property taxes for anybody that participates. With that said. But I just want to thank you, Steve, and Mayor, and everybody up here for this, for recognizing how important this is. In Broward County, here's a fact to understand. We live in a place where we have some of the wealthiest people in the entire nation, but 1 out of every 5 children go hungry. And every single year during the holidays, our religious communities, civic associations, government, everybody works together to ensure that people can have a wonderful meal. And this event is going to be incredible because at the end of the day, about 5,000 families who struggle to make ends meet every single day are going to be able to sit around their table on Thanksgiving, have turkey, have food, and have great family time. So thank you all so much for this. You all are wonderful. God bless you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you Saturday. Thank you, Marty. See you Saturday. You're very welcome. Is Commissioner Frank Gernert here? There he is. The Florida Inland Navigation District, Commissioner Frank Gernert, is to make a check presentation to Commissioner of District 3 and 4. I don't see the Commissioner for District 3 here, so Commissioner Sorensen, would you mind doing the honors?
I'll do. Commissioner.
Just tell Commissioner McKenzie he doesn't get his half of the check. So.
Well, I come before you tonight, Mayor, Commissioners, good to see you all. Good, thanks for having me here. We're here tonight I'm here as your Broward County Commissioner to the Florida Inland Navigation District. And as you know, we have a partnership with the district that has a grant program that has opportunity for waterway improvement programs and other programs of the like to inspire operations and activity on the intercoastal waterway and adjacent waterways. As part of that, our grant program goes through the city manager and Phil Thornburg and his team, John Luscombe and Andrew Cuba, all work together with the district and with our staff to go ahead and capitalize on these funds, bring them back to the community so we can make check presentations like tonight and have opportunities to give back to the community as we do every year. In this particular cycle, this 2021-22, $4.6 million in grant applications were filed for Broward County. Of those, about $2 million would come back to the city of Fort Lauderdale if they go through the cycle. So that's just for this year alone. So those are the type of opportunities we have. And today I'm with you, Commissioner Sorensen, and there's a Coontahatchee Park, which is right by my house. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I see it paddling by almost 3-4 days a week. But that is in District 4, Commissioner Sorensen's district, and we are happy to present the check for Coontahatchee for $246,000.
Wow. Oh. Lower it now. Great. Thank you so much. That's really amazing.
Nice. Oh, wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more. Another check. Chris, can we go cash that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, don't spend it all in one place.
That'll pay for the mayor's salary.
And,
Go ahead, Frank.
and then in Commissioner McKenzie's district, we have the Sweeting Park Dock Replacement Program, and that's District 3, Commissioner McKenzie, and that check is for $40,000. And I don't know if the city manager or Commissioner Sorensen wants to.
You can take it, yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you again. It's really great. So I'm very proud to now be able to invite our fire rescue chief, Chief Kerr, and Battalion Chief Golan. And I'd like to invite, is anyone here from the Fort Lauderdale swim team? Come on up, everybody, come on.
They're all hiding. We have a plan here. They're coming. We're kind of got an order here so that it'll be easier to hand out these certificates.
How you doing? Good, thank you.
Okay, so on Friday, October 8th, Fort Lauderdale High School's swim team began their practice just like they do any other day. Following their warm-ups, the swimmers were in their assigned lanes, conducting various drills to build endurance, breathing, and overall strength. Both coaches were closely monitoring from the pool deck while the swimmers completed their assigned tasks. As they counted the repetitions, they noticed one of the swimmers attempting to set a new pool record. That swimmer touched the final wall, achieving this milestone. However, he immediately became unresponsive. Known for his practical jokes, his teammates initially thought this was just another prank. Those closest to him quickly realized, though, that something was wrong. This individual was suffering from what's known as a shallow water blackout. His team immediately resorted to their training and pulled him out of the water. One of his teammates, Jimmy McCready, realized he wasn't breathing and began the first round of compressions. Another teammate, Evangeline Myler, and her brother Sean assisted with compressions. Coach Drucker called 911 while he was sprinting across the pool deck, ultimately performing the final compression on this young swimmer who began to breathe. At this point, the entire team began to assist, grabbing towels, opening gates, leading the medics to the patient. Every possible step was covered. We often hear the term hero, and we think of first responders. However, there's probably no group more deserving than these individuals standing before you today. Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue commends you for your quick actions that absolutely no doubt saved your teammate's life. Congratulations. And you may have noticed there's some more of them wearing blue shirts in the audience. They are part of the swim team. They just were not at practice on this particular given day.
Well, you're all heroes, and thank you so much for being here. Do you have a team captain amongst you? Who's your team captain? Come up, Dominic. You have a few words to say on behalf of the team?
And we have some gifts or commendations and things that we'd like to give each and every one of you. So we're going to start with Riley Barnhart. And wait, don't go away. And each one of you is going to get what we call our Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue Challenge coin. And there's a story about how they began during World War II, actually, and what they represent. Inside that little cardboard thing tells you all about it. And you should always carry that one in your pocket, because you never know, if you don't have your challenge coin and somebody challenges you with their coin, you're going to be buying their lunch. And you take it like this. You pass it with a handshake.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm going to try to do this without the mic because it's a pain in the, you know what? I have Kylie Bennett. Congratulations. Here's your certificate. And I'm going to give you your coin. Thank you. And then I have James Boardman. Not here? Okay. And then how about Aiden Carey? Is that you,
Yes.
Aiden? Okay. First your coin. Congratulations. Thank you for a job well done.
Natalie Carpenter.
Natalie Carpenter. Thank you.
Maya.
I got Maya Cohen. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. And you know, I can always recruit right now any of you that might be interested in becoming a firefighter at some point in your life.
Yes, we did just add 24 positions.
Carolyn Hayes. Is it Carol or Carol? Carol. Sorry. Congratulations and thank you. Trent Jackley. Congratulations. Thank you. Catherine Kilroy. Congratulations. Thank you. Oops, you don't want my list, do you? Charlotte Lucas. Congratulations. You're welcome. Isabella Masonette. Not here. You're not Isabella, are you? Okay. You're Jimmy McCready. All right. And just for, you know, a comment, this is a third generation ocean rescue lifeguard, and his dad is just recently retired from our ocean rescue department. So congratulations. Alexandra Madrano. Okay. How about Evangeline Mailer? I'm saying that wrong, aren't I? Myler, sorry. Congratulations. Thank you. Sean Myler. Congratulations. Thank you. Oren Morales. Nope. Okay. Juliana Silva. Congratulations. Thank you. Amira Solomon. Okay. Emiliano Vallejo. Oh, and how about Coach Adam Drucker? Yes, stay right here for a minute. And then there are several individuals that began the CPR, and I would like to give them a special recommendation. So, this is the coaches?
They're all the same.
Oh, the same, okay. So we have these medals that we're going to present to the 4 individuals that performed the CPR. So, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Really, it means special things for us. That you have that bystander CPR and what it means and what a difference it makes to somebody's life. So, thank you all for a great job. Okay. Did we miss you?
Dominic was the team captain.
Okay.
One of our team
Okay.
captains.
All right, very good. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss somebody, right? Okay, and then the other, Jimmy McCready. Congratulations, thank you. And you see where you wear those bars right on your shirt. Evangeline Myler. Welcome, thank you. Good job. All right. And last but not least, John Myler. Congratulations, thank you. All
We'll get on
right,
either side, get close, take a picture real quick, and
everybody come on up so your face can be seen and.
high school team's not here. You guys know what you're doing. All right, great job.
Thank you again, team. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the one thing I didn't mention is I was a swimmer in college as well. Swam butterfly. Individual medley and the butterfly.
So our next presentation, I will ask our city manager to step up to the podium, which he has already. Mr.
Great.
City Manager.
Thank you. I was not a swimmer in high school or college. Let me ask Phil Thornburg to join me here as Director of Parks and Recreation. And I'm going to just read a quick little statement here. In October, the Fort Lauderdale Parks and Recreation Department was awarded reaccreditation from the National Recreation and Park Association's Commission for Accreditation of Park and Recreation Agencies, known as CAPRA. The department met all 154 required standards during a 3-day intensive review of our operations by a team that was made up of 3 parks and recreation professionals from around the country. The City of Fort Lauderdale Parks and Recreation Department is only one of 183 agencies in the country to receive national accreditation, which confirms an agency's commitment to quality and efficiency. CAPRA recognizes parks and recreation agencies for excellence in operation and service while providing assurance to the public that the agency meets national standards of best practice. Through compliance with the standards of excellence, CAPRA accreditation assures that an agency has been independently evaluated against established benchmarks as delivering a high level of quality to the residents they serve. The City of Fort Lauderdale Parks and Recreation Department was initially accredited in 2011, reaccredited in 2016, and now again in 2021. Since the reaccreditation was virtual this year, the department developed a short video that was shared with the review team to showcase the parks and programming the City of Fort Lauderdale has to offer. Phil Thornburg, the Parks and Recreation Director, is here to accept the award and share the video. So, do we have the video queued up?
I think so. You guys got the video?
change. We wanted everything, wanted everything. Mama said, burn your biographies, rewrite your history, light up your wildest dreams, museum victories. Every day we wanted everything, wanted everything. Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated, all tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars, but I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes. Mama said, something for oddities, stranger crusades. Ain't never wannabes, winning the novelties that don't ever change. We wanted everything, wanted everything. Stay up on that rise, stay up on that rise, never come down. Oh, stay up on that rise, stay up on that rise, never come down. Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated, all tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting. They say it's all been done, but they haven't seen the best of me. So I got one more run, and it's gonna be a sight to see. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes.
Let me just say real quick, I just want to give a shout out to my staff. They work excellent every day, as everyone knows, to put on the programs and parks that we have. And then this was a lot of work. It is every year, and then it is, of course, every 5 years. This year we went through the reaccreditation through COVID, which actually added a little bit more challenge to it. But I just, I'm amazed by how great my staff is, and every day the opportunity to come to work for them and with them. And again, I thank the city manager and the commission for being supportive of our department as well. So thanks.
Well, we appreciate all that you do. Obviously, you stay busy. You keep our city alive and healthy. So I want to just take this moment and present this award to you for the reaccreditation. There you go. Put that next to your hundreds of other ones that you've gotten over the years. I know.
Yes. Where have you been? Okay, so at this point, we now get on with the regular business of the city, and with each agenda, there is what's called a consent agenda, and there are a number of items which are voted upon by the city commission all at once. If there is a specific item that a commissioner wishes to pull in order to be able to discuss and vote on it separately, now would be the time that I would ask the members of the commission which items they'd like to pull. If there is an item that has not been pulled, but there's a member of the audience that wishes to speak on that item, before we vote on all of them, I would invite you to inform the clerk of your interest in speaking on that item, and I'll be happy to invite you to speak on that particular item. So let me ask the Vice Mayor, do you have any items you want to pull on the consent agenda?
No, thank you.
Commissioner McKenzie?
No.
Commissioner Glassman,
No, thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Sorensen.
No, thank you.
Okay,
Mayor,
so
before you move on, we've got one that we need to defer for one meeting if we can. It's CR1, please.
Sierra 1 you wish to defer?
Is that the leaf blower report?
No,
Oh,
it is not the leaf blower
oh,
report.
okay, just want to make sure.
I'd like to defer CR1 to 12/7.
Well, is this going to delay our, our redistricting process?
Not significantly. I think it gives us an opportunity to sort of brief you a little bit more on the qualifications and so on and so forth. So there were some questions that came up. So we'll clear those up and come back on the 7th.
So we're just going to cross it off from we don't have to vote separately to defer to a specific.
You don't have to do it to a specific, but if that's fine. You don't have to.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a number of people who have signed up but I think a lot of these people are just here to respond to questions. CM5, Richard Quadri, you're just here to, he's virtual. He's just here to, is he there just to respond to questions?
Got to be. It's a special event request with that name on it.
Yeah, okay. And then CM9, these all seem to be virtual and just for questions only. CR4, again, in person, just for questions. CP2, they're all virtual. CP2.
That's the federal lobbyist contract.
Okay. So 3 people have asked to speak on that. So we probably need to pull that item. CP3, Boyd Corbin, you're here to speak on that issue. Well, just a moment. CP6, Mr. Corbin also wants to speak on that issue. CR11, Charlotte Mather Taylor, are you here? Did you want to speak on that issue? Just for questions, okay. Okay, so none of the commissioners had any items they wish to pull, but there are several items that have been requested for persons to speak on. So let me just take them in order. So it would be CP2, CP3, and CP6. All right, so except for CR1, CP2, CP3, and CP6, can I have a motion to approve those consent agenda items?
Moved.
Second.
Seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Did anyone pull CR10?
I didn't hear you.
CR10.
CR10?
Budget amendment.
The CRA
For the budget amendment one.
item earlier today. Let me open it real quick.
Yeah, CR10.
Is there an
Is it
item
that
here?
one?
Is there an item here that relates to the waive reimbursement?
Yeah, but you got to go inside.
There is an item that deals with $1 million towards the waive and the balance to Provident Park. It is not CR10.
Which one is it?
I gotta look. Hang
I
on.
left my folder in the car with all my notes. That's why I'm asking. It
Maybe
is
CR9. Hang on just one second.
CR9, right? Or 10? Which one is it? It's 9. Okay.
Yep, it's 9.
Letter of CR9.
Gonna ask Laura or Susan Grant to.
And you all have been helping me with it, but I'm still quite lost.
CR9A.
CR9A, okay.
Commissioner, Susan and I are both here. What's the question?
I'm trying to figure out, I know we're refinancing to repay the wave payment, but I thought when we canceled the wave, we were getting a refund. But it seems to me like we are refinancing now to pay somebody the money that we were supposed to get reimbursed because of our cancellation of the wave. But to me, it looks like, and I'm confused.
Yeah, so the attorney might speak about that piece, but I can tell you on this, we haven't been reimbursed for the waive from anyone. So what we're doing right now is refinancing outstanding debt related to the waive or that loop. I don't know if you know more about the repayment.
Yeah,
or
the agreements were canceled and essentially negated. The CRA had borrowed money for the loop. That those were monies that were actually borrowed. The city did not pay those back, so there's debt service that still remains on that. The only pot of money that initially was expended was by the SFRTA, and that money was gone. It was expended on design and so on and so forth. So we didn't get any money back. We tried, and we did a public records request for all their accounting records and so on, but the money's not there. So we did not receive any money back in that regard. That money had been expended. So the only remaining component was the loop loan taken out by the CRA, which now has debt service, and this money presumably is going to that debt service.
Right.
So does anyone know what happened to our mayor?
To what happened, what?
To our reimbursement of the money when we canceled the wave? I know we went out and borrowed the money. Now we're trying to repay it through this process, but we were still supposed to get reimbursed. Am I correct?
I don't know the answer to that. I know that
We sought
I
reimbursement.
know that people that were assessed were going to get reimbursed.
Correct, and that occurred.
That occurred, but
the
we're still
cost to the-
missing our reimbursement from other agencies. Am I correct?
Some money was already expended. So
I know you don't know, but I know that we're expecting a payment. I know we got money back to the people who we promised we're going to get that, and then we forgot about how we got here, which was our promise to do something. We upheld our end of the bargain, and then we canceled, and we were supposed to get reimbursements.
Is that part of this item?
Yeah, it's an amendment.
Well, so, Mayor, the items that are before you tonight, in the cleanup item, we're taking $1 million left that's remaining in the CRA at the end of the year, and we're using that towards prepayment of the debt because that's an eligible use. And then we're adding to that in the second budget amendment related to the CRA to repay the debt in order to refinance it at a lower rate. So the total repayment is $3.184 million, and that's prepaid in part from funds left in 21, and the rest is through the refinancing.
Yeah, I get all that. John Hurst, maybe you can help me. Who owes us, and when do we get that?
SFRTA owes us, and so far they are declining to pay us. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is we turned over the money to SFRTA. They were only supposed to spend it on the loop through the CRA. They began expending those funds on other things improperly, and when we made a claim to them to be reimbursed for the funds that they should not have spent, they are so far declining to reimburse us or provide us with any documentation as to what they spent the money on.
And so now we're refinancing what we borrowed, then we fell short, and then we're taking leftover funds from the CRA to pay the rest of it. So we're getting deeper and deeper in debt, in my opinion, for something we should have been reimbursed for, according to what I understood back then. I know what we've done here to satisfy the residents or that group over in that area. I know what we did in terms of the financing, but what I don't understand is how are we just going to ignore $8 million?
So we issued, to your point, we issued a loan, and we used that money and turned it over to the agency that was responsible for coordinating all the work associated with the wave. And when we canceled the project, we should have been reimbursed by that agency. We're still on the hook for the debt that we issued. We issued that debt. But yes, if we were to recover those funds from SFRTA, which, as far as we are concerned, are due and owable to us, we have a receivable on our books. The only thing is that at this point, it's looking less and less likely that we're ever going to get repaid. So from an accounting perspective, we have already written that down to zero. From a legal perspective, we're still owed, but from an accounting perspective,
It's easy to write off taxpayers' money, but if it was our own personal money, we go to the extremes with attorneys and everything to try to get that money back into our budget or wallets or bank account. So here we keep writing the debt down, but aren't we gonna? Can we? What is our?
It was never, let me add a couple things. One, I'm not aware of any inappropriate spending by the SFRTA. I have not seen any evidence of that. Two, it was never going to be a net zero withdrawal of the wave. We clawed back as much as we could. There were expenditures, we were far enough into the process where initial payments that were made to other agencies, we luckily were able to withdraw out where the FTA didn't come after us, Broward County didn't come after us, but there was that exposure. If you recall, when we were withdrawing out of that, there was a risk that we were going to get clawed back. There was money in design, and because SFRTA initially had the project, and it eventually got turned over to Broward County, I think the FTA, or the MPO, whoever it was. But initially they had it, so there were monies expended. So when we withdrew, it was never a condition. We would have hoped to, but it was never going to be a net zero where we get all our money back, including with regards to the loop loan.
So how much are we on the hook for? The money we borrowed and then the money we gave back to? What's our total?
The payback was for the assessment. We had assessed that money, so we had to refund the assessment. So that's money that we had taken in. So that we refunded.
So
and the loan, as far as I know, and finance can correct me, as far as I know, the only money that's out there is the loan for the loop, which the CRA had taken. At one point, I think there were discussions about the city paying back the CRA, but that never occurred. And I think there was going to be a land swap or something or rather. That never occurred, so the debt service still continues on the CRA side. And that, to me, that is the only money that is still outstanding with regards to the wave.
Do we have a cause of action against the SFRTA?
I do not believe so, because I think it was one of these situations where we authorized that money to be expended. Now, if Mr. Herbst knows of improper expenditures, I'm not aware of those. If there were improper expenditures, then potentially, but as far as I know, they were appropriate expenditures that were contemplated as part of the wave. It's just by the time we basically drew the line and said we're withdrawing out of it, that money had already been expended.
Okay, and so to your point, I think what was considered was in order to pay back the CRA for that loan, the then city manager contemplated giving the one-stop shop property, which was valued around $8 or $9 million at the time, to the CRA to pay it back. But that never happened because the commission never agreed to that.
Correct.
So Mayor, let me clarify. So the funding that we gave to the SFRTA for the loop was only to be expended for activities related to the loop. As Alan points out, there were some early design expenses that were incurred. The majority of the expenditures that were incurred were for the totality of the project, not simply for the North Loop. That was minor in relationship to the total project. So any costs that were related to the North Loop should have been restricted to only that portion. What they did was they commingled the funds on their end. So they took the CRA's restricted capital and they put it in with the general pot of funding. And that's when I say that was improperly withheld. That should only have been spent for construction-related activities on the North Loop. They should never have commingled those funds.
All right, well, our city attorney does not think we have a cause of action, so that's...
If there's evidence of commingling, again, I haven't seen any evidence of that. If there's evidence that we have that that's happened, we can certainly take another look at it, but I'm not aware of the commingling or any evidence of it.
Okay. Do you have any further questions?
No, I guess we'll just forget about $8 million.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor and it's been seconded. Please call the roll.
And this is for the approval of the consent items, except
for the ones that I...
What was her? Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and those consent agenda items are now approved. We'll move to CP2. CP2 is the motion approving agreements for federal legislative and executive branch representatives, representative services, Alcade and Fay, and Aiken Gump Strauss Hauer and Feld LLP. Jeremiah Aachen, are you on the line? Is Jeremiah on the line?
I do not see that name.
Did you want to say something, Daphne? Please step forward. Daphne Sanville, who is.
That microphone's not on.
Speak up.
The microphone's not on.
Daphne, can you hear me now? Okay. Daphne Sanville, Economic Development Manager. I just wanted to say I believe the individuals on the phone are from our lobbying firms, both from Alcalde and Fay and Aiken Gump, and they were on for informational purposes only.
They were offering what?
Informational purposes.
They're on the line.
If you had any questions.
For questions.
Okay. Let me ask you something, Chris. We're hiring both Alcade and Fay and Aiken Gump Strauss and Hauer. Are they in Feld? Are they working in equal capacity? What have we?
So for both Aiken Gump and Alcalde and Fay, they will be working in equal capacity. There will be certain areas of the priority areas that the commission decides upon for a federal program or federal legislative programs that would be assigned to either firm. So if you have an infrastructure transportation, Aiken Gump is very strong in infrastructure and transportation. We would assign certain tasks regarding specific infrastructure transportation needs that the city is looking for. Water, wastewater, health, human services, whatever areas that the firm is strongest in with the best relationships, we're going to be very aggressive in pursuing funding and policy changes.
And you feel that these are the best firms to represent the city?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of Daphne?
I'm just curious, and I ask Chris as well. If we had a relationship with one firm for over 6 years, and I thought they were doing a good job, I know it came up for renewal, who made the call to do two? Who made that call?
This went through a competitive procurement process, so there would have been likely Daphne and two other raters that rated the proposals.
Correct.
And then that would be a staff-driven recommendation.
I think it's been determined that this other law firm has expertise in other areas that Alcade and Fay don't have. So
But we didn't even have a chance as a commission.
Well, we have that right now.
We have it now, but it's pretty much a done deal, the way I see it. And then we had one of the firms, and I'm not taking away from either firm, that was suspended early on and continued to do pro bono work for us, who had already been working for us for all these years, and yet it doesn't come to the commission level?
It's at the commission level.
Now, but they stopped getting paid months ago, and now we're splitting this new process because of a procurement process. Typically, somebody gets first place or second place. And I'm not advocating one way or the other. I'm just saying, at what point do we get involved? At the end when staff has already made the recommendations?
Well, as you know, you always have the opportunity to speak with staff before the meeting. And if there are questions or concerns that you have, there's a scoring sheet that's Exhibit 2. I mean, there's a whole process.
And I know, and I agree, and I thank you for that orientation, but I think I've been speaking on this for how many months now?
Been a
Long
couple.
time, right?
Mhm.
And then what the outcome was not because of my inquiring, it was because of what staff thought.
I do believe there was some confusion, Commissioner McKenzie, at the beginning when the contract did lapse. So maybe next time when we go to issue this RFP, how many years is this good for?
3 years with an optional 1-year renewal.
Okay, so I think it would be good maybe to start that RFP process a little earlier so that we don't have that lapse. I don't think I realized there was a lapse either until we were a few months into it. Because I know we do communicate with them and ask questions, so we certainly don't want to do that if we don't have someone under contract.
Definitely don't want to do that.
And, but I think we maybe did because they were doing it pro bono, so we appreciate that work.
Yeah.
But also, I believe we also hired another statewide lobbying firm too. So I believe this procurement year, we added one additional team to our state lobbying efforts and then one additional team to our federal lobbying efforts.
Correct. And it was based on the decision early on when I came on. Direction from the commission was to be more aggressive in our advocacy and our lobbying efforts. And it was my recommendation, with my background in government affairs, that adding those additional firms would give us that upper hand and give us that aggressiveness to pursue the funding and policy changes that we needed.
We're ready to bring home some money
So,
for
so,
the
you, so you just answered my question. Thank you.
So
That's the answer I've been looking for all this time. Who made the call?
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
Someone like to someone like to move CP2?
Moved.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Daphne. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
yes.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and CP2 is approved. CP3 is a motion approving agreements for stormwater infrastructure cleaning and maintenance with Enviro Waste Services Group and Drainage Partners LLC. Mr. Corbin? Yeah, you wanted to speak on this? You have 3 minutes. Yeah, it's on.
No, it's not.
It's not on.
I hear you.
If the red button is lit up, then just push the button.
Now can you hear me?
Which we can hear you.
Okay, reset the clock. I didn't see anything in this consent purchase having to do with cleaning out the underground exfiltration storm drain systems. If this isn't done, then the storm drains turn into storm holding tanks, which causes flooding and mosquito problems. What I'd like to know is how much of the city's flooding is due to improperly maintained storm drains. We already know that over $100 million was taken from the utility fund over the past decade. Residents are tired of hearing about your multi-year plans to fix our infrastructure while you draw up plans to build new, more luxurious City Hall. I think that this building should work out fine until we get our flooding, sewage spills, and green or yellow city tap water issues addressed first. Robert has an office upstairs that he almost never uses, while just today, sewer spilled into our rivers. The valve problem that caused the water to be shut off to 250,000 residents and businesses still hasn't been fixed. It's been over 2 years. If you need money for these projects, then stop selling off our parks to private investors for $1 per year. What is more important, a refurbished park or playhouse or clean drinking water? Yesterday, I received an email from the Florida Board of Professional Engineers informing me that they have opened an investigation into the Corolla report. This report is the basis for building an unnecessary $430 million new water treatment plant, which will waste 5 million gallons of water per day. It will also waste $260 million since Five Ash can be rebuilt for less than half that amount. And the new plant will waste $45 million per year in electricity costs by using wasteful technology. I don't see how you can go forward with this P3 to allow a New York City finance company to take control of our water bills so that their lawyers can decide how much they can bill the city water customers in order to maximize the profits for their investors. I suggest you wait until this investigation is over before you sign any secret unsolicited bids for this disastrous public-private partnership. Corolla was already sued by the U.S. government for falsifying engineering reports in the past. There's a good chance that this engineering report, which has been called good by the city manager, will also turn out to be a way to steal thousands of dollars from each of the 250,000 city water customers. You might end up owing millions of dollars if this P3 is canceled, just like the wave fiasco.
May I have a question?
Wait a
So,
minute,
I'm sorry.
You concluded your remarks?
Yeah, did
Okay.
you have a question?
Okay.
Oh,
You have a
still
question?
shot.
Go ahead.
I do. So I'm just curious, when you say our parks and Parker Playhouse, and have you moved into Fort Lauderdale?
I drink the green water every day.
No,
I took a shower
that wasn't the
in
question.
the green water,
That
which
wasn't
is
the
part of the
question.
utility, and it has to do with utility maintenance. So don't be smart with me.
No, why do you say our parks and our Parker Playhouse?
Oh, you don't like my terminology. That's
No.
the one thing you got out of my speech.
Excuse me,
Well,
Mr. Calm down.
I just want everyone to be transparent. When I think words matter. So
Yeah.
don't say our parks and our Parker Playhouse. If you live in, where do you live? What city?
Dean wouldn't tell me where he lived or what.
He lives in Fort Lauderdale. We have
He
to.
gets his drinking.
Confess, I
from.
live in Fort Lauderdale.
He lives in Fort Lauderdale. Where do you live?
Where do you think I live? Don't play dumb with me.
Oh, I'm not playing dumb.
Play dumb.
But I don't think you live in Fort Lauderdale.
Huh?
Do you live in Fort Lauderdale?
Commissioner,
play
let's
dumb.
Don't say our,
Questions
and
that
don't
you
talk
already
about
know.
our Parker Playhouse. If you don't live in Fort Lauderdale, be honest. But don't say our Parker Playhouse and our parks. That's all.
Can I say our river has sewage spilled in it today? Because it does go through Wilton Manors.
Okay.
I can say that?
Okay.
Okay, good.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve CP 3?
Moved.
Wait a minute, let me get this right. CP 3, right? Moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas, Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and that item is now approved. Now we move on to CP 6, and we have two people who signed up to speak for that. Is Nelson Lancioni here? Hey, come on up. This is regarding motion to approve agreement for purchase of water meter boxes through Fortaline, excuse me. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Very good, thank you. To be honest with you, I thought we were going to discuss the purchase of new water meter, not boxes. So what I have to say wouldn't be pertinent at this time.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming down to the meeting. The next person is, Boyd Corbin.
This gentleman got a $5,000 water bill using for 220,000 gallons of water. Okay? You guys paid him back $3,500. All right? He's still short $1,500. Okay? So you guys admitted to the water meters being broken. That's worth about 150,000 gallons. So where's the other 70,000 gallons going to? I don't know. Are the water meter boxes also faulty? I mean, you guys are paying him back just enough of his money so that it doesn't make it worth the while for him to hire a lawyer and sue you guys to get his extra $1,500 back. And he's not the only one in the city. There are literally hundreds of people, and I've met many of them personally, that have been ripped off by water meters. Okay? And they only get back a portion of their money. How in any way is this right? I mean, you guys bring up churches and stuff and hold meetings, and you turned on that new sewer thing at the Greek Orthodox Church a couple months ago. I mean, really? Is this what Jesus would do?
Okay, thank you
Pay
so
back
much.
just enough, well, I got a little more time. Pay back just enough money so that it's not worth someone's time to sue the city. I think it's despicable. And I don't know why you guys are stealing extra money from people like that with the water meters.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I guess he's referring to this sewer line that we built?
Yes, that was the event
That
to the 7.5 mile redundant sewer line that opened.
I'm very proud of what we did there.
You should be.
So CP 6, would someone please like to move that item?
Moved.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and CP6 is now approved. Those are all the consent agenda items. We now move on to M1, motion to approve settlement agreement and release between the City of Fort Lauderdale and Continental Construction USA. No one has signed up to speak. Anyone have any questions with regard to that? There being none, someone like to move the item?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie? Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and M1 is approved. Two, motion approving increase to the Stormwater Master Plan modeling and design implementation continuing contract cost capacity with Hazen and Sawyer for $5,400,000. Mr. Corbin, you've signed up to speak on this.
Hazen and Sawyer, a well-known engineering company, is about to be paid $5.4 million to look at the city's storm drain system. This is good because there is flooding all over the county and a robust stormwater drainage system is necessary. There are two ways to get rid of stormwater. Positive drainage collects stormwater at catch basins and conveys it to via collection pipes to outfall discharging into either canals, lakes, or dry retention areas. This works okay unless the water level in the canals rise above the drainage pipes. When that happens, the canal water comes in and floods the streets. The second way to get rid of stormwater is called an exfiltration storm drain system. This is done by installing a square catch basin at each corner of a low-lying intersection. Each catch basin has two 8-inch diameter slotted PVC pipes that follow the swale about 20 feet. Water slowly drains out of the underground slotted PVC pipes, which have gravel underneath. This is a good system since it recharges the groundwater. This helps slow down the saltwater intrusion, and it keeps oil, fertilizer, and other runoff from going into canals. Every decade or so, the holes in the slotted PVC pipes get clogged up. Also, the gravel needs to be replaced. For the past 10 years, the Imperial Point Homeowners Association has been begging the city to replace the slotted PVC pipes at the intersection of Imperial Point Drive and Northeast 22nd Avenue. The storm drains there are always full of water months after it rains. This creates a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Finally, 2 years ago, Nancy Gassman, the second in charge of the City Utility Department, wrote a letter to members of the Imperial Point Homeowners Association saying the slotted PVC pipes can't be replaced because they don't exist. At this intersection, the storm drains lead to catch basins, which are essentially holding tanks. The water slowly evaporates through the top of the small grates, which takes months. You could not design a more perfect mosquito farm. It would be better not to have any storm drain there at all, since the low-lying intersection is designed for stormwater to get funneled there with nowhere to go, causing flooding for a long time after each significant storm. Now, the other high-level Fort Lauderdale utility employees are denying that this stormwater drainage system is improperly implemented because it would never have passed the regulatory requirements of the South Florida Water Management District, the DEP, or any other department with common sense. Did contractors complete half the job and take all the money? No wonder Fort Lauderdale has had 3 utility directors in the past 2 years. What do you guys think of holding tanks, holding the water till it slowly evaporates? Any comments for anyone?
I do have a comment and a question, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
This is the first time I may kind of piggyback your comments ever probably in my life, but we did bring this up at my District 1 meeting last night and discussed it. I did specifically discuss Imperial Point. One of my infrastructure task force appointees lives in that area, and he specifically addressed what you're talking about, the holding tanks in that area. And he asked if they could be retrofitted with pipes so they drain properly. So maybe, Chris, we could get
Nancy Gassman, you're in the audience.
a staff answer on that, but you were not at my meeting last night. But
Sit down, Mr. Corbin.
Maybe you were
Corbin, you
listening,
can sit
Mr.
down.
Corbin.
Oh, I thought you had a question.
No, you can sit down.
Yeah, I'm just kind of asking a similar question, actually, which is surprising to me.
Dr. Nancy Gassman, Assistant Public Works Director in charge of sustainability. The correspondence with Mr. Zeltman
exactly. Yes.
was, it described that particular basin. It's not a traditional exfiltration trench the way that he has described exfiltration trenches, but it is not a holding tank as he has described either.
Okay, so
How does the water drain then?
The catch basins are what are called blind catch basins, which means they don't have a bottom, and the water is able to percolate out through the bottom of the catch basin.
So there's no structure holding it. It's just the earth.
There's a series of catch basins that are connected by pipes, and that water creates capacity under the roadway to prevent water ponding on the road, and then the percolation occurs through the catch basin itself.
is that the process, is it slower to drain than some of the other catch basins that we have? Or, because it does.
Infrastructure in that location is older, and that is Mr. Zeltman has been asking us to clean that area, and we clean those areas on a regular basis. His assumption is that they are traditional exfiltration trenches, and they are not. So,
okay.
At this point, we've given him the answers he's requested.
Sure. So I hear what you're saying. They're older, and so maybe they're not updated like some of the other I hate to use the word holding tanks. I don't want to use that word. Catch basins are. So I guess my second question would be, I know this stormwater master plan is for the 7 neighborhoods in the south end of the city. When can we, or do you think this catch basin issue in the Imperial Point area, do you think that would be replaced when we come to District 1 to look at our stormwater master plan?
So as we explained to Mr. Zeltman previously, we do lots of street and street level projects, operational projects, and there are CIP projects that are smaller than these large scale neighborhood projects, and that in order to repair or change the infrastructure the way that he has requested, it would require us to put in a capital improvement project in our 5-year capital improvement plan and allocate that money over the next 5 years in order to be able to make that significant change to that neighborhood.
Okay, so I don't know, maybe Chris, is that something that we can look at for this upcoming?
It's something we can handle in the budget.
I don't
course of the budget, yes.
understand the cost, but maybe you do, Dr. Gassman, a little bit more. I know we have a few areas in District 1, and so, but this one may be one of the areas more prone to flooding, so maybe we could just look at that in the 5-year plan then, if we're not going to move up to District 1 anytime soon.
And again, there are street level and parcel level projects that we do all the time to improve flood protection. The Stormwater Master Plan was specifically identified large scale neighborhood level projects.
Right. Well, you helped answer the question. I was just wondering, how do I move something like this forward? And I guess I don't have to wait until we do the whole neighborhood in 10 years or whatever it's going to be.
Correct.
So maybe we can look at that particular area. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. Gassman. Okay. Has this item been moved yet?
It has not.
Okay, someone please move M2.
Moved.
Do I hear a second? Second. Please call the roll. Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. Vice Mayor, there's absolutely no doubt that there are many parts of the city that need to be retrofitted. I hear examples like that all the time. And clearly, we got our work cut out for us, but at least we're doing the work. I mean, we are spending a lot of money, and unfortunately, the federal government and the state government has not been a viable partner in helping us getting this done, so we've had to fund it ourselves. But hopefully with this new infrastructure bill that's been passed by the federal government, we'll be able to tap into those resources and to be able to accelerate our program to try to accommodate the kinds of needs that you described. So
do you think stormwater, do we know if that will be included? Is that one of the buckets?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
R1, appointment of board and committee members.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, for the December 7th meeting, we have some nominations that were brought forward. Couple consensus nominations, Citizens Committee of Recognition, former City Commissioner Romney Rogers, nominated by Commissioner Sorensen. The International Swimming Hall of Fame Board of Directors, Commissioner Glassman has been serving and his term is coming up. For individual nominations, Aviation Advisor Board, Wes Smonik, brought forward by Mayor Trentalis. Invest Fort Lauderdale Inc. Board of Directors, Chris Smith, brought forward by Commissioner McKenzie. Fire Rescue Facilities Bond Issue Blue Ribbon Committee, John Ratsinas, brought forward by, my Greek's not very good, brought forward by Mayor Trentalis. Cemetery System Board of Trustees, Pamela Beasley Pittman, brought forward by Commissioner McKenzie. Citizen Police Review Board, Carol Lee Ortman, brought forward by Vice Mayor Moritas. For tonight's resolution, Cemetery System Board of Trustees, Paul Gitnick, brought forward by Commissioner Glassman. Community Services Board, Pamela Aiken, brought forward by Commissioner McKenzie. And Education Advisory Board, Colleen Lockwood, nominated by Mayor Trentalis, and Yolanda Francis, nominated by Commissioner McKenzie. And that rounds it out, Mayor.
Okay, someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
Are there any other nominations that need to be made from the floor tonight? There being none, please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing or nominating, if applicable, board and committee members as set forth in the exhibit attached here to and made a part hereof. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and I want to thank all those individuals for committing their time and sacrificing their time away from their families and friends for spending time trying to help the city move forward. R2, resolution approving the 2022.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
State legislative program for the city of Fort Lauderdale. Any questions with regard to this?
I do, Mayor.
Please go ahead.
Thank you.
3 minutes. No, I'm just
Thank you. No, that's okay. Well, I live in the city of Fort Lauderdale. So, yes, I wanted to discuss, when I looked over the list, this commission passes resolutions, and I'm specifically thinking of some that we've sent to Tallahassee, we've circulated with our lobbyists, but I don't see any category for those when I look through the categories that are listed here: infrastructure, public places, neighborhood enhancement, business development, public safety, internal support. But I'm thinking specifically in terms of, we did a resolution for reproductive rights. We did a resolution concerning the transgender ban. These are issues that are coming to Tallahassee in this upcoming session. We know it. And we send resolutions up, but then we never say anything about it in our lobbying efforts. So that's a disconnect for me. And I think that the issues that we pass resolutions on should be included in our state legislative program. And I think that we should go back and look at our resolutions and see what's missing. But those come to mind in particular. I don't know what category, unless we called it a civil rights category or a human rights category. But again, those are the ones that come to mind. And I know that there will be issues that are coming forward in the state legislature. So just wanted to bring that up. I think that we should include what we pass.
I think 2 points. One, I think it's very your comments are important, and I think that all those resolutions should be included in our legislative agenda. You're absolutely correct. I would support that. And also, I want to know, how did Ben Sorensen's younger brother get in this picture?
It's a lot of photoshopping and smoothing out the wrinkles, Mayor. I don't have the natural glow you do, so that's what that is. Thank you.
You see the picture he's talking about?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did we take that?
That was March of 2018.
A lot more hair. It wasn't gray.
Like 2008.
Yeah, that was 12th grade, I think, maybe 11th. Right before prom. Thanks, Mayor.
Just don't update it. Just keep that one.
Yes, that's right.
So if I can respond
So,
to the
Daphne-
commissioner's comment, can I start, Mayor?
Yes.
And then we'll go to Daphne. So, Commissioner, just by way of a little process explanation this year, typically we would bring this legislative program to a conference meeting in advance of the evening meeting. We'd iron out those little tweaks that needed to be made in conference and then come to the evening. We just ran out of space on the conference agendas, and as you could tell from earlier today, we were as tight as we could be, and even ran long. So we made the decision because we thought it was more important to get it to the evening agenda so we could actually transmit it to the lobbyists than to put it off until December. So we can certainly take that as feedback, and if it passes tonight, there's no issues adding those.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean,
Sounds like Daphne has corrections too. Is that what you said? Okay.
I just think our resolution should have some teeth, and this makes sense to me.
Okay,
Thank you.
so if you introduce the resolution, your resolution is going to be that we adopt the legislative program that's attached, plus the subject matters of the resolutions that we have passed in the previous year. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, although I maybe I misunderstood. Did you say, Chris, that this is going to come back to us, or should we do what the mayor has just suggested?
Yeah, I would do what the mayor suggested and just give us that direction and just adopt it as amended tonight so we can tidy it up. We'll transmit a copy of it to you all so you have it, and then we'll be able to give it to our lobbyists.
Got it. Is that your resolution, Commissioner?
Yes, that's fine. Thanks.
Any other questions? There are none. Please call the roll.
Well, hold on, I just want to see what what exactly are we voting on then? We're voting on, I
This
guess
is
what I
the
see
this is the state
attached.
legislative. This is Exhibit 2.
So it's the buckets that Daphne has identified, plus some of the resolutions that
Page
we
5.
have passed.
Page
in-
5, 6, and 7.
Sure. So I personally would just prefer to vote on what's attached, not as amended. So I guess would that just be, would it be a no vote if I don't want to vote on what's amended?
Why don't we just do them separate? Can we separate them?
I just prefer that we just focus on.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Split the
Listen,
item.
what I'm saying, if we do them separate, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well-
Our appropriation requests versus our advocacy.
Yeah, I don't want to mix them up either. I'd rather, because I don't deal with resolutions, period.
What would be the
Period.
appropriate thing?
So if
I
we
don't
just
know.
deal with our bucket of legislative priorities, which are what we have planned out, resolutions are something totally different than what we had discussed earlier. So I would like to have the opportunity to vote on the bucket, not the amendment.
Okay, Alan, what would be the appropriate procedure here?
Well, it's by resolution, so you introduce the resolution either as is or as amended. You can't really pass through resolutions because they're trying to accomplish the same goal, so they're going to negate
No,
each other.
what they're suggesting is
It's the
that
content.
we introduce the resolution as is and then do a walk-on resolution
Separately.
adopting an amendment to that previous resolution to add to our legislative priorities. I know we can do that.
Well, you're passing a resolution and then immediately amending it.
Well, we may not amend it. It depends if it passes.
Can we get a straight answer so we can be guided properly?
It's not a matter of a straight answer. It's you have one resolution before you.
Can we do it, is the question.
I don't recommend that you do it, no.
That's a good answer.
Okay, so.
You don't recommend that we do it, the amendment?
So your resolution
I don't
is.
recommend two resolutions because you're passing a resolution and then immediately amending it. So it makes no sense to, you have one resolution, either it's amended or it's not.
Okay, so your
Well-
resolution is what?
Well, my question is, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, because you transmitted the resolutions that we've passed. Aren't they specifically directing our lobbyists? All of those resolutions we passed,
Well,
isn't
the
that
thing
language
is-
included?
The thing is, some of those resolutions that we passed, which were supportive of issues, were not unanimous. So there are members of this commission that don't.
I understand.
That don't want to be associated with some of those other resolutions, so they don't want them attached as an amendment to this particular resolution.
Right.
I understand, but just so you know, if you look at the backup, there's introduction strategic goals. There's a category called fundamental principles. There's a category called commission legislative priorities, and in there we opine on many issues that are not necessarily, they're definitely not appropriations, but there are categories here that would fit the resolutions that we've passed as a commission. I understand when you're saying that it wasn't unanimous, but I still would like to move forward. By the way, I did forget one thing that I wanted to also address.
Well,
Under-
okay. Let's take one thing at a time.
Okay.
So are you keeping the status of your resolution that you've just introduced? You introduced a resolution accepting what's here as amended with the subject matter resolutions of the resolutions that we have passed during the course of this past year. Is that still your motion?
Yes, I'm willing to accept everything that's in front of us in the backup, and I want to amend it to include the resolutions and the topics that we've passed as a commission.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I just say one comment, Mayor?
Yes.
I would prefer if we voted on this tonight and then maybe at a separate time, we bring back maybe a separate advocacy sort of resolution. But I do want to tell you, you can certainly do this, but I've seen things in Tallahassee where if you're going to ask all of our lobbyists, all of the firms that we've hired to really go to bat for us on all of the issues that we passed the resolutions for, or you all passed the resolutions for, you do risk your appropriation funding. I've seen it. I've seen if you want to start, kind of getting aggressive and saying this is really what we want. I'm concerned about it. So I just want you to.
I don't understand what is your concern now?
I'm concerned about our appropriation request if we're going to start advocating a lot of positions that may be against the majority party.
So you're saying we shouldn't include the Melrose Manors neighborhood improvements?
No, that's not what she's saying. Don't bring.
I don't understand.
Thank you for clarifying that. It's definitely not what I'm saying.
Resolutions and our legislative initiatives. That's what we're talking about, not Melrose Manors. Don't bring them into this
I'm just looking.
debate.
Target
No, but that's
River.
not what we're talking about.
No, all of the appropriation requests, which we
Appropriations.
agree on,
Right.
I believe we should continue to advocate and ask our lobbyists that we've hired to advocate on our behalf. I'm telling you, I've seen different appropriation requests get slashed, whether it's by whomever, if we're going to advocate on social issues that are against the majority party. We could jeopardize some of our appropriation requests. I've seen it.
But I think we're already doing that. I mean, I'm looking at the legislative commission legislative priorities, page 6. I'm seeing plastic bag and styrofoam bans. I think the majority party, right, has opposed our position.
Firearm regulations.
Firearm
Come on,
regulation.
the majority party in Tallahassee
Has
opposes
opposed that, yeah.
I oppose every
So
resolution we
I think-
send to Tallahassee because it's a philosophical nothing piece of paper. So
Well, now
if we're
it's
gonna
not.
do it and amend it, which hey, do what you want to do. I'm voting no.
Okay.
Appropriation.
I just think, and I guess all of the things you're maybe mentioning, Ben,
The philosophical nothings that we.
So you think we shouldn't advocate for plastic
We
bag
haven't won-
bans?
I'm not. Listen,
No, I'm sorry, I'm not talking, I'm asking.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I was asking.
I haven't thought that particular one through quite as much as maybe
Okay.
some of the other resolutions that we've passed, because I know we have passed things state or citywide for, plastic straws and stuff. I'm just saying, I caution us as a body to start advocating too much as opposed to just trying to get our appropriation request brought back to our city.
But I wouldn't even do that. If I believe in something, I believe in it. If I don't believe in it, I don't believe in it. So I'm not fighting straws. I'm not fighting plastic. I'm not fighting any of this stuff that we really can't control because at the end of the day, people bring straws and plastic to the beach. They don't get there by themselves.
Okay.
So I'm against any resolution going to Tallahassee.
Okay. Please call the roll.
What is the?
Sorry, what are we voting on?
So the resolution that's been introduced is to adopt the resolution approving the 2022 state legislative program for the city of Fort Lauderdale as articulated in Exhibit 1, plus adding the subject matter areas of the resolutions that we have previously passed as a commission this past year.
And does past year mean 2020 and 2021? I'm just trying to understand.
I
Or
guess
just
it's the last-
2021?
it's the last legislative session.
It's the last legislative session.
So it would be this past year.
It's 2020.
2021.
So just 2021. So any resolution we passed in 2021? Okay, great. I just want to be clear what it is. Okay.
And Mayor, I didn't get a
Thanks.
chance to just say that under appropriation requests, I think typically when items like this go forward, it's arts, culture, and historic preservation, not just arts and culture, but because the state seems to, they tend to lump those together many times. I just thought that we should add those two words to arts and culture, just my point of view. On Exhibit 2 in the CAM, page 8 of 9, on the top under appropriation requests, it says arts and culture, but underneath it, it does say supports increased funding for historic preservation. That's why I just thought that it should say arts, culture, and historic preservation, because it actually does mention those words later. Just a small point.
We can do that.
Arts, culture, and
We can do
historic
that.
preservation?
Yes.
That's what it says in the body.
Well, I know, but the heading just says arts and culture.
Okay, well,
I understand. I'm just saying.
it
But
covers it.
if they can change that, that'd be great. I'm not going to make a big deal of it, but I think you have the motion correct.
Okay.
Well, hold on, Mayor, I have one more question too.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure I'm representing you all appropriately too. So do you think at this point it would be best to replace me on the Broward League of Cities and Florida League of Cities so that you can advocate the positions in a way that reflects the majority decisions? I'm happy to step down if you all would like to take over.
Wait, you want to quit?
I'm not saying I want to quit. I'm saying I can certainly keep advocating the positions that I believe in. I just don't want to misrepresent the overall body.
Okay, well, we'll take that up. Let's see how this vote turns out.
I think you hit the nail on the head, because you're saying you're out there advocating what you believe, but when you look at this commission, it's a consensus-driven commission. If we did everything on a consensus, we wouldn't be having this debate today. But we all go out and do individual things and think we prevail, and we come back here. If we can get a 3-2 vote, we think that's the consensus, and that's why we're in this dilemma we're in. And I wouldn't support any of the stuff that we're doing right now.
You made your point.
It's personal beliefs, but I was talking.
I know.
Same thing you got me on earlier,
We've heard you make that point.
but I wasn't finished.
Go ahead.
I'm voting no because you're obviously not going to get anywhere. But just vote no and let it be a 3-2.
Mayor, in terms of vice mayor, I think vice mayor can do a fantastic job advocating for the city. And so
Right.
I
Well,
would,
Just please know that I probably won't advocate on some of the social issues that I disagree with, but I will certainly advocate
I
for
don't blame you.
the appropriations request and stuff. But I'm also happy if you feel like I misrepresent this body, I'm also happy to step aside and let one of y'all do it.
I don't think that's necessary, Mayor. That's just me.
And just for point of clarification, I think it was raised earlier, but our resolutions do state and direct our state lobbyists to advocate for those. So to the extent those resolutions stand, they do speak for themselves in that regard and do direct our lobbyists to do that. So just so that you're aware of that as well.
Okay.
Who direct them?
Thanks.
Yes, I can.
No, I'm fine.
I can quote it for you if you want.
No, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, please call the roll.
So this is a resolution as amended, introduced by Commissioner Glassman. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving the City of Fort Lauderdale's 2022 state legislative program and providing an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
No?
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
No.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the resolution is approved. Moving on to R3, resolution providing notice of intent to enter into a comprehensive agreement for a qualifying project submitted as an unsolicited proposal to develop, operate, and maintain a multi-use structure with public parking and notice of intent to accept other proposals for the same project. I see, Mr. Locker, you're here probably just to answer questions. So this is an opportunity. This is that parking garage project that's off of Las Olas Boulevard. And I believe we have to make the decision tonight whether or not to accept the tender of the proposal and then set a number of days in which to receive other competing proposals. So this
That's
is
correct.
District Commissioner Sorensen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Very excited about this possibility. Just big believer in these partnerships. And I think from a timing standpoint, Alan, Chris, maybe 30 days. That's,
About 21.
I think we have a minimum of 21.
Minimum of 21 up to 120. So any number between that? You
Okay.
can choose.
Yeah, I think 30 is yeah, if that's right.
Okay. Any questions on this? Any other thoughts? Okay. So Would you like to introduce that resolution?
Certainly introduced. 30 days. Thanks.
Mr. Locker, you have any comments? Is that good? Okay, call the roll, please.
A resolution, the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, providing notice of intent pursuant to Section 255.065 Florida statutes to enter into a comprehensive agreement for a qualifying project to develop, operate, and maintain a multi-use structure with public parking, a fire rescue EMS substation, and retail at the site of an existing parking lot located at the southeast corner of Southeast Second Court and Southeast 8th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and notice of intent to accept other proposals for the same project and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas? Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the, excuse me, the resolution is approved. So we'll see you in 30 days. Okay, let's see. R4, this is a resolution authorizing the execution of a facilities relocation agreement with Florida Power and Light Company for relocation of transmission lines contingent on the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency's approval of the expenditure, which we did this afternoon. Approval of an excess cost and grant of easement agreement, an 11th amendment to the development agreement with Village of the Arts Limited, a guarantee agreement with Milton and Barbara Jones, and a recognition agreement with the Bank of America, and authorizing the city manager to execute certain documents and instruments and to take certain actions in providing for an effective date. Any questions or comments on this? There being none, would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduce.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution, the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving an agreement with the Florida Power and Light Company for relocation of transmission lines, approving an agreement to cover excess costs and grant of easement with Village of Arts Ltd., approving an 11th amendment to the development agreement with the Village of Arts Ltd., approving conveyance of the property to Village of Arts Ltd., delegating authority to the city manager to take certain actions, delegating authority to the city manager to execute certain documents and instruments, providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas? Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the resolution is approved. Thank you for being here tonight, Mr. and Mr. Jones. You're welcome. Okay, public hearings. This is a public hearing for a resolution to establish minimum annual lease rates and a real estate brokerage commission policy for property available for lease at the Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. No one has signed up to speak. Do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So move.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, so someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduce.
It's been introduced.
A resolution, the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, establishing the minimum annual lease rates and adopting a brokerage commission policy for property available for lease at the Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, providing for conflicts and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that resolution is now approved. PH2, resolution authorizing the issuance by the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency of Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency tax increment revenue and refunding notes, Series 2021, in an amount not to exceed $23,100,000 and not a penny more.
How about one more penny?
No one has signed up to speak. Would someone like to move to close public hearing?
Moved.
Second.
Moved and second.
What are you doing?
Roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
No.
Mayor
I'm
Trentalis?
just kidding. Yes.
That's all yes to close.
Yes. So
Stephen,
public
don't
hearing.
look over your glasses.
Someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduce.
It's introduced.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, authorizing the issuance by the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency of its Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency tax increment revenue improvement and refunding note, taxable Series 2021, Northwest Progresso Flagler Heights Community redevelopment area project as security for a loan to be made by Truist Bank as lender in an amount not to exceed $23,100,000 to the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 163, Part 3, Florida statutes as amended, authorizing other required actions in connection therewith, and providing an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie? Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the resolution is now approved. Going on to ordinance of first reading. This is a first reading ordinance amending the non-bargaining unit classification table of the pay plan of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida by creating 2 new classifications. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
Anyone have any questions with regard to this?
Can we just get maybe a little bit of a explanation of, I guess, why we think we need these 2 positions and what we hope to, the benefit to the city, having these 2 new positions? I mean, when I look at them, especially, maybe just help me understand it. I guess I'm wondering what the outcome will be. Are we lacking in diversity? Are we lacking in cultural affairs? Is this?
I don't know that we necessarily are lacking, but I don't know that we're doing as well as we could. And so when I'm going to just read the position here with a cultural affairs officer. It gives you an idea of what they would do day to day. The employee in this position will develop and implement citywide cultural programs, special events to promote the image and awareness of Fort Lauderdale through liaison with community groups, educational organizations, governmental agencies, act as a liaison and forge partnerships with the community, the cultural arts foundations, community organizations, and other nonprofit organizations. I think there's a lot of what is defined in this position is occurring in the Parks Department today. But I find that we don't have a comparable person when it comes to us interacting with Broward County. And since so much of that is driven by Broward County, I think it's appropriate for us to have a seat at the table. And that's really day-to-day what that position would do. Many organizations, especially organizations of our size, have moved towards putting a specific focus on diversity, inclusion, and equity, the DEI. If a diversity officer is brought on, they will direct the city's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative strategies to attract, hire, and maintain a diverse workplace, develop and implement recruitment, outreach programs to promote inclusion and diversity. And so it's just a focus that a lot of organizations our size and larger, and even a little bit smaller than us, have had to put an actual focus on to make sure that we value a diverse workforce and that we serve a community that we're representative of.
So I know we've received, different ratings and awards based on our efforts to be a diverse city, and I do appreciate that. So I'm not saying I don't think we need diversity, because I do appreciate it. Do we think that Tarlisha in her office is not adequately fulfilling this role?
I can let Tarlisha
HR?
address that.
I know, we kind of had a little bit of hit in our fire department, with some of maybe our diversity too, and I know we addressed that. So I feel like when this comes up, I feel like we do address it at the department level, and I do believe every department should be focused, on the diversity efforts. I just don't know if I, at this point, am ready to support 2 new positions, at $93,000 to $144,000, and also, I really feel like, the next hires I want to see in the city, I'd rather really give the money to the police department. I already kind of had somewhat of a miss when I only funded fire recently, and I did not really take into consideration the police positions that I know I learned are still kind of in need of.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Chris and Vice Mayor, didn't the commission already approve these positions in the budget we just passed?
They were in the budget that's passed. Yeah, this is procedurally, this is what has to happen to get it into the personnel complement.
But we already approved these, Vice Mayor, when we passed the budget. These positions were listed in the budget that we passed.
Thank you for bringing that up. I'm still going to kind of go back to saying.
No, this is the process it has to go to get to our pay. Yeah, to our position control. You want to go to
The previous vote was for the expenditures, but the creation of the positions is through this item.
So creating the position, so is there even though we voted it in on this year's budget already, is
As an
there?
expenditure.
So there's a, in the budget, there's money for 2 new positions. I'm just asking, is it possible to use that money and use it on positions in the police department? Or is that something that's already allocated and determined based on our budget vote?
So the short answer to that question is yes, but that could happen well beyond these 2 positions and this available funding. There could have been anything else in the general fund that we adopted as an expenditure
Can be
that
amended.
could be reallocated by this body, right?
Right. So I'm going to say it again. I kind of felt like I maybe missed the boat when I did not fund some additional police positions before. So if we do feel like we have additional money, I would support the money going to that. You know, I heard recently that the NAT teams are changing a little bit and maybe to help with staffing issues. So I'm still not feeling comfortable with our police staffing efforts. But Charlicia, I know you're sitting there because I asked the question about, do you feel like your office is adequately fulfilling the role of hiring a diverse, workforce? Or do you feel like it would, well, let me ask that question first.
Identify yourself. We all know who you are, but
It's not on.
Not on, Tarlisha. Hit that button. Yeah, maybe it turns off.
It keeps turning on. Is it on now?
Oh, people turn it off. Gosh, never know what this.
You're on.
I don't know, Jeff. I think you have a secret switch.
Can you hear me now? I've never been accused of being quiet. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I don't think it's on.
The light
There
is
you
on.
go. There you go.
Okay.
Someone hit something.
All night it works, and then when I come up, it doesn't work. Okay. Yes, Vice Mayor, I believe our office is accomplishing that task, but we can always work on ways to improve diversity and inclusion within the city. As far as the police issue is concerned, there are several budgeted vacancies that are available, and HR has police right now in a position where they have several candidates from a diverse pool of candidates that they're currently doing background checks on to fill those positions. So we are moving forward, and right now the fire department is completely fully staffed, with the exception of a few resignations or
Sure.
separations that we've had within the last month.
Well, you did say budgeted positions, so I have heard a request, from the police department for additional budgeted positions. So that's where I'm kind of saying, if we feel like we have extra money for extra staff at this point, just my recommendation would be to add more positions to the police department and not into these 2 positions. So I appreciate what you're doing in this arena, especially for the diversity. And I do think you are doing a good job. I hear you that we can always do more. But at this point, I probably won't support adding 2 new positions to the city budget.
Tarlisha, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the diversity officer really important role, and I'm assuming they would help the police department and the fire department attract diverse candidates. That's part of what they would try to cultivate. Is that right?
Yes, that is one of the functions of the position, but that position does a lot more than that.
Yep.
It's focused on that in several different areas. It's not just for recruitment and retention. It's awareness. It's bringing a skill set to the city that doesn't just focus on that. In our role in human resources, we focus globally on the employees as clients and servicing the city and what they do, and supporting the workforce. This is a position specifically dedicated to not just diversity and inclusion of individuals. I mean, it crosses race, it crosses sex, it crosses nationality, it crosses so many different functions, and that has never been a principal focus of a position within the city. So there's certain things that we can do on a daily basis to support our 3,000 plus employees in the city, but there's a focused effort that would take place if this position is filled.
Yeah.
I understand and appreciate Vice Mayor's position, but I want to make sure that we understand that is not my principal focus in my specific role as a human resources director. We do it globally, but this is a more focused position on that particular skill set.
Yeah,
No, I appreciate that. And I do understand that it's not your specific focus, but I do feel like we are making, we are doing a good job of
Thank you.
doing it throughout the whole city, and maybe you train the department heads or everyone that works with you. So I just don't know if we need 2 new positions for it. That's all I'm saying. And I just feel like if we have extra money, I'd rather it go to the police.
Understood.
Yeah, I think this is important. I think a diverse workforce is a more effective workforce, and I think having individuals that focus on that really can help drive performance. Because I'm just speaking in general, I'm also a big believer of not only diverse in terms of racial orientation, gender and so forth, but also thought diversity. And I think there's a host of diversity components that make us a better city. So, Mayor, I'll move this item, if that's possible.
Okay, the ordinance is being introduced.
Or introduce.
Can I just ask a question? So does this individual also get involved in sensitivity training?
Absolutely.
Okay, so and we are devoid of that person now? We don't have that person in our department now that engages in this kind of training and practices?
We have sensitivity training in our training portfolio that's done by our organizational development training component of staff and HR. And we've also brought in consultants that actually do sensitivity training for city employees.
Consultants.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, I concur with Commissioner Sorensen because a lot of times police departments are often criticized for not having this level of recruitment training and recruitment outreach that I know that, I think that over the years, our police department has been doing a pretty good job, but I guess it's gone to the point where having a person or persons full-time doing this, I think we reached that level. We have a huge department, and so I too would support the resolution, the ordinance, excuse me. So, any other questions? If there are
Mayor, I also wanted to say that I do think that, our city has grown to be the type of city where these positions are needed, both of them, for all the reasons you guys have stated in terms of diversity and that we have one person who this is the focus of that position and it will cross over every department in the city. With regards to the cultural affairs officer, also, great cities understand the importance of arts and culture. We have now a public art and design board, and we are growing in the field of arts and culture and building facilities. So I think that position is also very vital. These are not great expenditures for these 2 positions, but yet I think it will contribute greatly to where our city is and where we're actually going. So I support these 2 positions.
All right, so did Commissioner McKenzie leave the meeting?
Yes, he's meeting with the leaf blower committee right now. They called a last-minute meeting.
He deferred it. He said he wasn't.
He wanted to wait for me.
He wasn't ready. Okay, you didn't miss it. Saved it for you.
Oh, you thought you missed it?
Yes, I was
no,
waiting for the.
You didn't miss it.
Next time.
He might be coming back here.
You'll have to watch the video, Vice Mayor. There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, man.
Let's call the roll.
An ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending the classification table of the pay plan of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, as amended by creating and adding 2 classifications and providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, and an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
No.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the ordinance is approved on first reading. OFR 2, an ordinance on first reading, amending Schedule 6 of the pay plan of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, by increasing the minimum salary of the pay ranges that are less than the state of Florida minimum wage effective September 30th, 2021. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
Anyone have any questions? There being no questions, could you please call it?
An ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Section 6, special employees of the pay plan of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, by increasing the hourly minimum wage of certain pay ranges consistent with the state of Florida minimum wage and providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, and an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the ordinance is approved on first reading. Our final item is the ordinance on second reading, OSR 1. This is an ordinance amending the City of Fort Lauderdale Code of Ordinances, Section 28-1B, relating to year-round landscaping, irrigation, conservation measures. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduce.
It's been introduced. Anybody have any questions with regard to this?
We did make some changes between the first and second read that the commission asked for. If you would like a presentation on that, we can do it very quickly, but if you read it and you're satisfied, then
We're
good.
good.
Take that out.
I think we're good.
We can't enforce anything anyway, so not really.
Speaking to the microphone, Commissioner.
We can't enforce anything, so not really. It's not,
Okay.
Bend it. Send it to Tallahassee.
An ordinance amending Section 28-1B of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, entitled Water Conservation, relating to mandatory year-round landscape irrigation conservation measures of the South Florida Water Management District by adding definitions, revising landscape irrigation restrictions, and providing a variance process, providing for codification and correction of Scrivener's errors, providing for severability, providing for conflicts and repeal, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
With the amendment, yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, what amendment?
We added some things to it.
Okay, so that ordinance is now approved on second reading. Mr. Boileau, do you have anything you'd like to add? Mr.
Did we handle the
The
walk-on?
walk-on, right.
Oh, the walk-on, yes.
Walk-on.
Yeah, I forgot about the walk.
I just thought I'd ask. Who's going to describe the walk-on for us and read the?
Well, I can give you, I guess, it's a motion to approve settlement agreements with a variety of insurance companies, which the clerk will read, but the Hartford Accident and Indemnity Company, Continental Casualty Company, the Glen Falls Insurance Company, and American Fire and Casualty of Orlando, et cetera, which is basically Liberty Mutual. If you recall, Commissioners, back in 2018, we hired a law firm, Eisenstein Malinchuk LLP, to scour our historical books for any references to insurance policies the city may have had with regards to environmental claims. And this was largely due to the pending cases we had that for the with the Hinton and Adderley cases that we settled this last fiscal year for $18 million. We were able to, or they were able to find references on confirmed and unconfirmed policies to the point where we didn't even have some of the policies or policy numbers. But we got these insurance companies to the table, and through negotiations, mediations, again, it's been a couple of years, we were able to reach settlements with each of these companies, and to the total of $2,104,427.75. So,
Congratulations.
So I have to give credit to this firm. They literally went through the books, the physical books, back as far as they could go back, and found policies in the 60s and 70s. So this will obviously defray some of the costs there, and the item is essentially agreeing to the settlements, and then we'll get all the paperwork executed.
So what is the nature of this item? Is it a resolution? Is it a motion?
It's a motion. Just a motion accepting these settlements with these.
Proceeds?
Yes.
Moved.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Quickly.
Okay, it's been moved. Getting quick.
With speed.
Call the vote.
Mayor, if I may, I also, working with the Attorney's Office, Cassandra Brown from our office did a great job actually going back and finding a lot of these with our records, and she handles all our records, so want to point that out and thank her as well. She did a really good job.
Well, I'm actually happy you're leaving, because she'll go through your file drawers when you leave and see what other things are tucked under the drawers.
You hear that, Cassandra? She keeps me on track too, so. Okay, so who seconded that?
I did.
And I think we read the motion at the beginning of the meeting, and I think your Motion was good. Should I read it again, or?
I will
I don't
defer,
think
I
so.
will defer to your memory.
Yes, the mayor read it at the beginning. Okay. So for the vote, Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Absolutely.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. So the motion's approved, and we're $2 million richer. Thank you. Is there any further business?
I just have one question of the commission, just so that I'm making the right decision. It would appear as though, by judging today's room and crowd size and all, that we're back to where we're ready to convert back to in-person meetings. We still had a virtual option today. I'm not planning on offering a virtual option moving forward. So moving it to the next meeting, December 7th, would be back in person. If we make that decision, then that trickles down to all of our boards and committees as well. But in consultation with the city attorney, it's becoming more difficult to argue that we should allow for a virtual component. So unless there's objection, we're going to go back to in-person meetings on the 7th.
The only thing is, like last meeting, Commissioner McKenzie wasn't feeling well.
Our resolution allows for those types of situations, whether it be a medical issue or.
Okay.
So we do have that flexibility still in our resolution to do that for commissioners that may be unable to attend. It just.
Okay.
But Chris, you're talking about like a Zoom where people, where actually the public can participate.
Correct. The meeting would occur in this room.
In other words, everyone would have to be in the room.
That is
Exactly.
correct.
That's what you're eliminating. Yes.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is that they come and use this area, that we make sure we continue to disinfect and clean thoroughly these areas where we're going to come in.
Yeah, especially when I leave here, you should.
Yeah,
Well, we can fumigate.
Here, you should disinfect him.
Hey.
I rode on the elevator with him.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I have.
Meeting adjourned.
Oh, happy holiday. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, wait a minute. Giving everybody.
The recording has ended.